Hi, hello there, my name is Kayla and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate it. In today's video, we are going through all of my eyeshadow palettes, every single one of them. I have everything here from drugstore, Wet n Wild, Maybelline to high-end like Natasha Denona. So if you'd like to see my eyeshadow palette collection, maybe give you a little inspiration as to what's good, what's not good, what's user-friendly, what's beginner-friendly, or if you're just curious as to see what I have in my collection, then keep on watching. Alright you guys, so here it is. Here is the monstrosity of eyeshadow palettes. How did it get this bad? I don't know. So I went ahead and tried to categorize them by brands and by price. So let's just go ahead and get into this. All right, so right here we have some Hot Topic and some Makeup Revolution. I did do reviews on the Makeup Revolution Nightmare Before Christmas palettes, and ever since using these, the color stories in here just don't inspire me. I don't know what it is about them. They're just kind of like all over the place. But I did do reviews on these, and the eyeshadows themselves are good. They're not the best, but when it comes to stuff like this, you're not really paying for like the best quality. You're more or less paying for the packaging, but they don't inspire me, and I don't know. I'm gonna keep them, but they're not my favorites. And then here we have 3 Hot Topic eyeshadow palettes that I did reviews on. My least favorite one is this Chucky one. It just did not perform that well. I think the 2 that performed the best were the Nightmare Before Christmas and the Beetlejuice one. They performed pretty good, but this Chucky one was just not the best of quality. However, if you just have like a little bit of patience and a little bit of time, you can really make anything work. So yeah. Alright, so next up I have a leopard and a tiger one from Makeup Revolution. The packaging on these is super nice, and the quality of these is not bad at all. They performed pretty well. Just don't really reach for them hardly ever, but I will go ahead and keep them in my collection. I have this Myron palette that I use for Halloween looks, and I'm most certainly keeping that. Oh my god, we have a long way to go. The Raw Beauty Christie palette, for sure, keeping this. This is one of my favorites. I also did a review on this one, and I'll have that linked in the description box down below. Bailey Sarian, I did a review on this one. Unfortunately, I just don't really use it that much anymore. The colors in here are really pretty. The formula is fine. It is just not my favorite, but I am going to keep this one. We have 3 Kimchi Chic palettes here. I have this big Catnips one that I absolutely love. It is one of my favorites. It performs very well. All the eyeshadows are super pigmented, very buttery, very sparkly. And then I also have the Juicy 9 Chocolate and the Mango Tango. I did reviews of these, and I'll have them linked in the description box down below. Here we have the Sugar Pill Little Twin Stars palette. Okay, not gonna lie, I have never used this one. I know, what am I doing? The shades in here are absolutely gorgeous. I've wanted this for a really long time, and it was on sale for I believe like $7 a couple months ago, so I went ahead and picked it up. Next I have this Morphe Manny MUA palette, and I got this in a BoxyCharm, and I have never used it. I haven't used it once. The shades in here are really pretty, but I may just give this to a friend because I've never used it, and I don't think I'm going to use it. I have this caramel one from Zoeva, the Lorac Pro. This is the original Lorac Pro. Very cool toned eyeshadow palette, so if you're looking for a good cool toned one, I would highly recommend this. Here we have the Nudie Patootie palette. I reviewed this a couple months back. Really pretty shades. I just don't really gravitate towards this for some reason. I don't know what it is about it. It's just not my favorite. However, the formula is really good, and I do really enjoy using this, but I just don't use it that often. We have the Melt Gemini. This one, is it beginner friendly? I would say no. The shades can get a little bit weird, a little bit patchy. You have to take your time and be patient with this one. The shades are super pigmented, but if you're just starting out in eyeshadows, I wouldn't recommend this. It is really pretty though. Okay, here we have the Lady Gaga Stupid Love palette. When I first got this, I was all about it. I was using it all the time, and then I just stopped. The glitter shades in here aren't really that good. They're more of like a chunky shimmer shade. And this is just a palette I don't really gravitate towards that often, but I am going to keep it because I do really love this blue shade and this orange shade right here. So yeah, hopefully I can put it back into like my rotation. I have two palettes from Juvia's Place, the Warrior 2. This one is my favorite from Juvia's Place, and I also have the Nomad. The Nomad palette, the shades in here are really pretty. However, I had a lot of difficulty with these two sort of green shades. They were just not pigmented, they wouldn't blend, so I may end up decluttering this one. This Kylie palette, yeah, I believe I paid like $45 for this, and for $45 I'm gonna say this is not worth it. I hardly ever reach for it. This blue shade, it's a pressed pigment, so that means you can only wear it by itself and like not with other shades apparently. Yeah, I just don't ever use this palette. It's really pretty, but I may end up giving it to a friend. I paid a lot of money for it and I wish I just liked it more than I do, so yeah. Sorry, Kylie. Next, I have two of these Tarte palettes. Don't ask me why. The shades in here are really pretty, and I do like to travel with this palette if we're ever allowed to travel again. But yeah, I'm gonna continue keeping both of these palettes in my collection. I've used them all the time. They're just like a little nice go-to palette. The formula in them is very, very good. They smell good as well, and they are staying here. Next up, I have three ABH palettes. We have the OG Modern Renaissance, Soft Glam, and Sultry. Modern Ren I've had for the longest. Soft Glam and Sultry, I gotta say I think Sultry is my favorite one. The shades in here are just so gorgeous, and the shimmers in here are probably one of my favorite shimmer shades of all time. They're just so good, so sparkly, so buttery smooth. I love this palette. We have the KVD, Kat Von D, Kendo Vegan, blah 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 palette. This is the Shade and Light Glimmer one. I did a look with this palette, and I'll link that in the description box down below. Moving on, we have some drugstore palettes. I have all of these Wet n Wild palettes. My favorite one is probably this Coffee Cat one. I did reviews on all of these, and I'll have them linked in the description box down below. But the Coffee Cat one is probably like my just easy everyday favorite shades in here. I have three of these smaller Wet n Wild palettes. The formula on all of these is fantastic, and I've had these for so long, so long. But if you're just starting out in makeup and want to get a feel for eyeshadows, these ones would be like the best ones to start out with. They're very easy to use, pretty pigmented, but also like still forgiving. So these Wet n Wild palettes are great if you're just starting out in makeup. I have two Maybelline palettes. This little City Mini palette, oh my goodness, I used to use this all the time. Same with this Lemonade Craze. I feel like I need to get rid of this one though. This one I've just had for so stinking long, and I think it's time. I have this little LA Girl blue shade one, and it's been around for a long time, and I think it's time for it to move on. I have three of these e.l.f. bite-sized palettes. I just did a tutorial using new e.l.f. products, and I'll have that linked in the description box down below. But these are also fantastic little eyeshadow palettes if you're just starting out in makeup. They're very pigmented, but also very forgiving, very easy to use, blend out super well. These are fantastic, just like the Wet n Wild palettes. Okay, I think we're coming to an end. I have this Makeup Revolution Friends Rachel palette that I never used. This was an impulse buy, but I'm keeping it. We have all of my ColourPop eyeshadow palettes, and I just did a review ranking all of my ColourPop eyeshadow palettes, but my favorite one is probably the Raw Beauty Kristi at Forest Sight. However, ColourPop just has like one of my favorite eyeshadow formulas for a super affordable price. If you're starting out in makeup, if you've been using makeup, if you love eyeshadows, ColourPop has never steered me wrong. They are so good. I love them. They're very affordable. Packaging is just 10 out of 10. Adorable on like every single one of their palettes. So yeah, ColourPop is an A+. Alright, here I have two Urban Decay Naked palettes. The Naked Honey I just got during Black Friday, and I am going to wrap this one up, and it is going to be my little Christmas Christmas present to myself, so I haven't used it yet, but I'll be using it sometime after Christmas. The Naked Heat I've had for a very long time. I love this one. Why do I keep it in the packaging? I don't know. This is a great palette as well, and I'm so excited to use the Honey. Oh, Too Faced. This Sweet Peach palette I have had for centuries. It is old, it is gross, but I think I'm gonna keep it around for that sentimental value. The White Peach one, I really loved it when I first got it, but the more I use it, the more gross it is. The two shades are totally gone. I think it might be time for this one to go into retirement. The Just Peachy Mattes, this one is probably one of my favorite peachy matte eyeshadow palettes of all time. It is just so good. I love all the shades in here, and this is going to stay with me for a very, very long time. Next up, we have the Lime Crime Venus XL palette. I bought this one not knowing the controversy around Lime Crime, but I am gonna keep it because the shades in here, I mean, come on, gorgeous. I absolutely love this palette. I don't know if I'm ever gonna buy anything else from Lime Crime though. If I had known the controversy surrounding them, I probably wouldn't have bought this, but I have it. It's here. I really do like it, and I really do enjoy using it. It is definitely one of my favorite pinky toned eyeshadow palettes. I love the packaging on it. As you can tell, it has been used and abused, but yeah, I really do like this palette and enjoy using it a lot. Alright, so we have come down to the wire. Next up is this Natasha Denona Peak palette. This one I have been using so much the last like 2 weeks. I've been using this palette like it is going out of style. This is my first ever Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette. I got this in a BoxyCharm, and it is just so good. The mattes perform amazing, super pigmented, very easy to work with, very easy to blend out. The shimmer shade in here is just out of this world. I love it so much, as you can probably tell. And alongside the Natasha Denona, this Huda Beauty Topaz Obsession palette, oh, it is so gorgeous. I'm about to hit pan on this shade right here in the middle. I got this in an Ipsy Glam Bag add-on, and I am so happy I was able to snag this up because I've been using this consistently for the past 2 weeks in conjunction with the Natasha Denona palette. They are my favorite ones at the moment, my go-to babes at the moment. And yeah, that's all the eyeshadow palette madness. Alright you guys, so that is it. That is my entire eyeshadow palette collection. I was able to go through them today, decide which ones I want to keep and which ones I want to pass on to some friends. If you liked this video, be sure and give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Everything that I have on my face will be linked in the description box down below, as well as all of my social medias. Please remember, we are still in the middle of a global pandemic. Wash your hands, wear your mask, stay safe out there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye. Jingle bell, jingle bell.